So let's do a quick review of whatever we have done till date. So if you know what we have done, we installed, we first know now, last week we came across Docker. We understood like what is microservice architecture, how can we run small chunk of services in a container, how container is different from virtual machine, that it is not having its own kernel, right? The guest operating system is not there in Docker containers or containers. How can you create containers with the help of images? We create containers. Then we install Docker. We have seen some kind of a script where we used function. How can we create, how can we install Docker? We also have seen how to pull an image, how to delete an image, how to see how many containers are up and running, how to run a container with interactive terminal, okay? How to stop, start, and attach. What's the difference between attach and exec, okay? These are few things which we have seen. Then we also have seen inspect. How can you find the log file location, the IP address? We have seen something called detach mode, where we will just run something and the container will be started. We don't have to go inside the container. It will be in a detached mode, means the prompt of the Linux will be coming back. Then we have also seen the logs command, okay? How can you tail the log? Then we have seen port mapping. How can you map a port? How Docker daemon will be assigning a port between this range, which is 32,000 to 50,000 to a container. Then we have seen with small p, okay? Like how can you assign a specific port and map a specific port with a container. Then there is something called volume mapping, where you map the host volume with the container volume. Okay, we have seen that auto deployment kind of feature, right? We also have seen like how can you prune a container, how can you prune images. Now, why you will prune an image to help free the disk utilization, right? Then we have done this particular exercise where in this diagram we have pulled an image, we created a container, we changed something inside the container, then we committed a container to create an image and push it back, right? Then we did the same thing with the help of Dockerfile, rather than doing with the commit command, the manual way we did with the Dockerfile. We also seen like which one is good, this one or this one. Here, how many steps are there? 2. Here, there are 4 steps. So the size of the Docker image also depends on like how many steps you have. Then we have also seen like how if you create a Docker file, which is not the default file name, something like Dockerfile -Flipkart -something, okay, whatever it is. So that if that is a Dockerfile location, which is not a default one, how can you use that, right? So then we have also created a shell script where you have passed 4 arguments and we build it, we pushed it, right? So today we'll be doing our Docker project which I explained you all last week. So project is something like this, where if you see the diagram, we will be creating 2 Docker files, one for Apache, which behaves like a proxy server, and one for app server. So there will be 2 Docker images, one for Apache, one for Tomcat, and we will be creating a container out of that image. Once you create, we will link it, and then our customers will be able to access that app server with the help of proxy server, right? So this is what we are trying to do. Again, remember that this particular whole exercise is a development, okay, for unit testing. So developers will be using it mainly for unit testing. And also for testing, suppose Docker images. If you want to test the Docker image locally rather than directly in the server, you can do that, okay, by this particular project. So with this, understanding with this references, let us continue the class and complete our project. Anybody have any doubt before we start the class? Anyone? You want to discuss something before we continue the project? Okay. So guys, you all have to
Rahul is going.
So guys, you all have to practice Docker. More you practice, it will be fun in learning. Okay. If you just see the video, do not do by your hands. Okay. Then it will not be fun, exciting. All this will be like very boring. Okay. So don't do that. Practice. And when you practice, obviously there will be a lot of issues coming in. Then. So yeah, I'm starting the node. We'll try to use this node to complete this project. So let's wait. I got a public IP for this particular server. We'll try to open a new session. Web load, change the IP, and that. Okay. We'll try to create a project folder. Let's create a project folder. So we are currently doing these things in a server, which is a EC2 machine, because I don't have Docker desktop in my laptop. Okay. Desktop, Docker desktop. So there is something called Docker desktop, which developers will be using. Okay. Docker desktop. This Docker desktop is not a free product. Okay. It's a licensed product. If you use for commercial use. So I'm teaching you all, this is a commercial platform, right? So I cannot use it. But you, when you work, when you study, you can always do this. Okay. How can you do? Personal, you see, Docker desktop is free. But then this is like pro, $5 per month. It's for you can use it. Like generally your company will be in this or this. Okay. But then as I am teaching you all, I cannot use. Okay. I'm not a personal user. Okay. So for you all will be trying and testing things in your local laptop. What you can do, you can install the desktop. It just download this, do next. And once you do that, it will start desktop. Then what you do, you use bash terminal, git bash, and start using it. Okay. Like here, Docker commands will be working once you have that. So you can use, or developers will use the local laptop to do these things. Okay. But I am trying to use a server. Okay. Because I cannot use it in my laptop. Right. So mkdir, let us create one project. Okay. Let's create a Docker project. Okay. Now Docker project. I'll go inside this folder. Inside this folder, if you see what exactly we have to do, this is my whole project. I have to create two images, right? One is for Apache, another is for Tomcat in this example. So what I will do, I will create two folders again, Apache, Tomcat, right? I'll go to Apache. Here, this is my Apache folder. Now I can also go to Tomcat. This is my Tomcat. Nothing is there. So we will create a Docker file in both the folders. Okay. So vi Docker file. Let's see, in the document, I have given you one Docker file. Copy this Docker file for the Tomcat. Okay. And paste it. And let's read and let's try to do what exactly it is doing. So it is saying from Ubuntu latest means I am downloading a base image, Ubuntu latest. So I am trying to create a Tomcat image. So there are two options for this. Either you can go to Docker Hub, okay, and download the Tomcat image directly from here. Here you see, you will get the Tomcat image directly from here. Either you download it directly from here, which if you want, you can download. But then this is like pretty easy. Here, you will not learn how to write a Docker file because it's already created. I am trying to show you how to create a Docker file with from scratch. So that is why we will try to create this Tomcat image, whatever is here, we are trying to create here. So let's use a base image, which is a Ubuntu image, where we are trying to pass an argument called Tomcat version. What is this argument? If you see this command below to build an image, what I am trying to do, I am passing a build argument. While building an image, I'm passing a build argument that, okay, this is my argument which will behave like a variable. And when you run it, this particular Tomcat version will be populated with this particular version, 8.5.70. Now what will happen, wherever you can now call this thing below, wherever you have this hard code, you can call this. So whenever you want to create a Docker file, suppose you in your company, you will be using this argument a lot. In your interview also, in real time, most of the Docker file will not be hard coded. The variables should be there. Okay, you cannot create something which is hard coded. So you have to pass on a fly while creating an image some variables. Okay, and that variable here is called argument. So you are passing an argument while creating an image which is catched by this particular command and then being used here. Any doubt here in understanding? Any doubt here in understanding? See this too. You have to tell me now. This command you are running to create an image. What is the image name? This. So to create an image name, you are giving this argument. What is happening? This argument is going here, and now Tomcat version means 8.570. And it is going to be replaced. What is the next command?
-t, right, Rahul?
Sorry?
Docker build -t, right? We should use.
Docker build -t is the tag name, is the image name, right?
Yes.
This is argument. This is like, till this we have done previously also. Like how to build an image, we know that -t, this image name, dot.
Okay.
But then you are trying to, now suppose tomorrow I have to install 9 version, Tomcat 9. So what I will do, I will just change it here 9. I don't have to go and update the Docker file, right? In that way, this Docker file is reusable. That is the benefit of using build argument. How can you make your Docker file reusable? So your code should be, always you remember, your code should be in such a way so that it can be reusable, right? One thing, one code, not good. Okay. Multiple things you can do with one code. How can you do that? With the help of variables, with the help of arguments when you run, right? So the next command you see, what it is doing, it is just running update, upgrade, install, OpenJDK and creating this folder. What is the next command I am doing? I am wget. Wget is for what? What is the purpose of wget if in interview people is asking you?
To download something from the internet.
To download something from the internet. So now what I am going to download? Tomcat. So I'll type in Google Tomcat download. I'll come to this page. I'll go to Tomcat 8. Here you see the latest version is 8.5.91. But my mirror, here you see mirror image changed to DLCDN. Currently here I have used mirror something. So previously this Tomcat download page was using this mirror. Now it got changed. So what I will do, I will right click on this, copy link address. If you copy paste here, you see you will get DLCDN. So simply I will try to do what? I'll go to this wget command and I'll try to delete. Okay, I'll try to delete it till this, it will be same. I'll try to just delete this mirror image. Full copy. Yeah. Let me delete this completely so that there is no confusion. Okay. Now, what will I do? Rather than see here, the version is hard coded, we'll delete this. We'll write Tomcat version. Again, here the version is hard coded. What we will do, we'll try to delete this $Tomcat version. Okay, so now what is going to happen? It is going to download the tar. In which location? -o means output. It is going to download in this location. Now, once it is downloaded, I am saying, okay, cd temp and extract the file. So this is going to be extracted. Once it is extracted, what I am trying to do, whatever it is inside the extracted file will be like this. Now, whatever it is inside the star, we are copying it to this folder, which is this. So this is like my etc Tomcat. Okay, when you were studied Tomcat, it is like that etc Tomcat where I am copying the binary. Okay. Then I am exposing 8080. This is very, very important. What do you mean by expose in Docker? So expose is like that security group. So every server will have security group. Suppose if you want to expose an 80 port for this particular virtual machine, what you will do? You will go to security group and you will open it. Similarly, this is also a server, right? But it's a container. Now this container wants to expose 8080 to this proxy server. So how will it expose? By this command. So that means this container can be... Sorry?
Is it mandatory? Because yesterday I was asked in interview yesterday, same question. Expose is it required or not?
It's not mandatory. Okay. But then it is advisable to do. What does this mean? If you give this, you will know that, okay, yeah, my container
is already being used in this port, right? Just we are informing.
It is saying that not being used. It will say that your container, this container can be only accessed by 8080. Understood? If anybody wants to access this container from outside, what is the port it will use to access? कोई भी बाहर से access करेगा तो. Means if anybody wants to access, it will be able to access only at 8080.
Which means we are making it that port alone public?
Not public. It means you can... How can you make anything public? Tell me, how can you make this particular container public?
You can allow all the
with the help of port mapping.
Yes.
That is port mapping. So you are saying that this is accessible through 8080. Now, if public wants to access, that is also possible. If private wants to access, that is also possible. But for public, there is an extra step you have to do. What? That port mapping needs to be done. Because public can only access this virtual machine. And that virtual machine can access only on the virtual machine ka port. And that virtual machine port need to be accessing the container port. Correct? So there are separate steps together.
Yeah, he answered me in such a way, like if anybody see this Docker file, so this port is already being used for that reason, we can use expose. So no others can use the same port.
This port.
Yes, in the Docker expose.
You can think like this. You can think like this also. In this container, 8080 is exposed. Means this container can only be accessible through 8080 port. This is the definition. When something is running at 8080 port,
yes,
and it can be accessible only through 8080.
But it's not mandatory, right?
Not mandatory. Even if you do not do that, okay, means what will happen? This will be running because Tomcat runs by default at which port?
8080.
So Tomcat will run at 8080. It will expose. We'll try to do that. Okay. So here your example is there. Why don't you? I'm showing you this way. You do this. Okay, exercise. Just remove this expose, run, create an image, and try to link it, and then one time you do, you keep it and then try to access. Okay, and we'll give an example. So now, what is this? Okay, this is command. What exactly it is saying? Okay,
Once
you run
container
this-
starts, it will start in the backend as a daemon.
Yeah. So it is saying that when you start this image to create a container, then this is the command it is going to run. The first command which it will run is this. So when your image is converted as a container, this is the command which will run. Now, why you are running this command? Because you know how to start Tomcat. In our class we have done sh space startup.sh, right? This is how we can start the Tomcat. But then why this? Why not that? sh space. Why can't we run this? Now, if we are running this, what is going to happen? So let's see this. Okay, so we have Tomcat installed in our server locally. I'll go to bin and you see I will start my Tomcat. So when I start my Tomcat, what is happening? See, I started it, it came out of, means I started and it came out of the prompt. Am I making sense? I am currently in which prompt? Linux prompt,
Yes.
right? So that means it is running in background, correct?
Yes. Yes.
It is saying me, okay, fine, you run it, I will run it in background. That's it. You don't have to, you keep doing your other work. But then this is not a good practice in case of container. Container wants something to make it active always. As I told you, what is container? Container is a task-based server. Means you will give it a task, it will do the task, it will close. Right? Remember?
This is also active, right, Rahul? This command as well. It's starting, right, server?
This is starting, but it is coming out of the prompt, na? It is coming out of the prompt.
So why do we bother of the prompt? Because in background, Tomcat is running or not? We should, right? First of all, it's
No.
running, right?
The task you have given, it has done the task, it came out. You have to bother that. In case of container, you have done the task, you have given a task to a container that, okay, go and start the Tomcat. So it will go and start the Tomcat, and then the task is done, it will stop, exit. Means the container will start and stop. But then you don't want that. What you want? You want that it should be always up and running. So for that reason, what you will do? You will have to use this command. Catalina.sh run. What will this do? This will not come out of the prompt. So if you run this command, it will not come out of the prompt. It will keep running, it will show you the log files. Okay, whatever is happening. So as it is not coming out of the prompt, Docker will think that, okay, my task is not yet done. I have to be active. So it will not kill itself. So there is a difference. Do not use some command which is what? Which is not running in a background. If you do that, foreground, if it is not running in foreground, if you do that, what will happen? Docker will kill itself, which we don't want. Okay, we don't want the Docker to kill itself. So that's why we are running this catalina.sh run. Okay, so there are, if suppose there are some software which you are working where you do not have this kind of script, which will keep running, then what you do? You just tail something, tail the log file. Maybe do this, okay, or Tomcat log. If you want, suppose, something to keep running, because your Docker demands that entry points demands that, then what you do? You do this way, like something like this. So what it will do? It will tail the log file. When you tail the log file, it will not come out of the prompt, right? It will keep running. It will keep showing you the log files.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the difference. This is also an interview question. Okay, they will ask you. They'll give you a bad Docker file and they will say, okay, what is the problem here? Okay, something like this. So now we understood the Docker file, right? What we will do now, we'll try to run this Docker file. Okay, if you see this, copy this command. And Docker file, you check one more time. Here, argument is there. Everything is okay. Just we will change the version to 9.1. 9.1. Now, what is the latest? Let's see. Latest is 8.5.91. So I'm doing that 8.5.91. Then finally, I'm also giving dot. Dot means current folder, right? Build argument passing name of the image passing and then dot. Run it. And you see image got created. Docker images. You see this particular image is there, up and running, right? Here, this image is up and running. Let me delete these images. This images, I think yesterday I created. That's why. I'm running the image again. Okay, Docker images. Here you see this got created. Okay, it is showing 13 hours. Why? Because it is there in the cache. Okay, so that's the reason it is so fast. Because yesterday I ran, so it is taking all the things from cache. So suppose you don't want to take things from cache. Okay, you want to run it fresh. Okay, sometimes you have to do that in your company. So you have to do no cache, enter. And this time you see it is not taking the cache, it is running. Okay.
It means again it will connect to the GitHub, Docker Hub, right?
Not Docker Hub, it will download. It's not Docker Hub creation, it is downloading things, it is running the things. This
is pulling from GitHub one, like Docker Hub one, right?
Pulling the image you are saying, the Ubuntu image, right? But then this is not getting pulled by Docker in Docker Hub. This is a line upgrade Ubuntu command, right? apt get update, apt get.
No, in the first line from Docker, because when you
From
mention no
Docker
cache,
file.
right? No cache, right? Then again it will connect to the Docker Hub and it will download, right? Latest Ubuntu.
Correct. Latest Ubuntu. Correct. So now you see it's still running. Sometimes build thing will take a lot of time. So anyway, you see here the images is up. Currently see this image is up. Okay, this image is there. Let me delete this Docker RMI. Okay, I have one image which I created just now, which is very good. Now I'll go to Apache. Okay, in Apache, I'll create another Docker file. Here, now this Docker file is little different. Here also you will be able to get some interview questions. Okay, copy paste. And now you see. So from in your document, whatever you are using, it might be CentOS. Okay, so delete that and use Red Hat. Okay, I'll give you this new thing. Maybe go, everyone please update your document. In the chat window I'm giving your document, whatever you are using, it might be having CentOS 7, but then CentOS is deprecated, means now no more CentOS. Red Hat is not giving support to CentOS from last 2 years. So now CentOS is deprecated, so you have to use Red Hat licensed version only. So this is a Red Hat licensed version. Generally we shouldn't use, because I am using a commercial thing, but then you can use it. So I'm just showing you for testing purpose. So here you see Red Hat UBI 8 yum install httpd. You are going to this directory. Work directory means go to this directory, cd this. Copy proxy conf dot means what? Can anybody tell me what is happening here? What it is trying to copy? This proxy file will be present where?
It's copying the proxy file from the host machine to the Docker image.
Okay, so everyone agree on this? This particular proxy.conf is a file which will be present in the host machine. You will be copying it to this location. Now, what is this? This is someone else, not Kiran, someone else. Please tell. Like, what is this? What do you think? What does this will do?
S3 bucket.
Yeah, what add will do?
It
S3
will
bucket.
copy the HTML code that the var.ww.
Sorry?
It will replace the file.
No, you are not clear. Can you please be clear?
It will replace the index.html file.
It will replace. Means add means it will do kind of a wget thing, right?
Yes.
It will
We'll
go
download it.
and use this URL, copy from URL to this location. So suppose if you want to do something like wget inside the image creation, you can use add button. So add and copy. This is a very like common interview question. People
Yes,
will
sir.
ask you.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe if you give interview, somebody gave yesterday, I don't know, they asked you. Or not.
Definitely. Yes, yes.
So they will ask this. It's a very common interview question. They will ask, have you created Dockerfile? You will say yes. So if you say yes, they will ask you, okay, tell me the difference between copy and add. So copy means from local to container. Means local host machine to container. You are copying. Dot means which location? This location. See, CD this, then copy this. So I'm doing what? I'm copying it to this location. Dot means this. Add here means what? Wget this to this location. This is the difference between copy and add. Now then run chmod means it will going to change the permission because otherwise permission will not be there. And then what it is doing, it is just starting the Apache in foreground. Again, we cannot do here like service HTTPD start, okay? Because it will come out of the prompt. We don't want something to come out of the prompt. So that's why we are doing it in a foreground method. Okay. These are like very well in internet you will get. Just copy paste. This thing is done. Now, from this, your takeaway is like, okay, what is work directory, copy, and other things. Here you see I have not exposed port 80. To answer, I have not exposed port 80, but we will still use port 80 only. When we do port mapping, we'll see. Okay, or when you do Docker PS, you will be able to see which port it is exposing. Okay. So anyway, let's save it. Okay, but then this URL I think doesn't work. Okay, this is an old URL. So what I will do, yesterday I think I have this is what new. Okay, but you all should create your own public S3 bucket. Okay, this will be your task. I have my public S3 bucket. I will give you here, but then I want you to create your public S3 bucket. Now, how will you be doing it? Google it, do it. Task for you.
Yes, yes,
How
sir.
to create a bucket public. So means what? This is a bucket S3. Google it, YouTube it, do whatever you want. Create a S3 bucket, a public bucket. And if it doesn't work, tell me, I will help you. Here you see, this is the bucket I created as public. Try to see how can you create this bucket public. There will be a lot of documentation you will get. Create a bucket and then change the permission, ACL, do whatever you want. Okay.
Yeah.
Create a bucket public. Use Terraform to create. Okay, or maybe whatever you wish to create. Okay, do that. So now, once you create your bucket, let me go back. Docker project, Apache. Dockerfile. What I am doing, I will change this URL. So I'm giving you URL over Zoom chat. Okay, someone can post it in Slack channel so that it will be handy for everybody. Now there is this file should be there locally, right? So let's see if this file exists or not. This file it's not present. So what I will do, we'll try to create this file. Okay, let's create this file. Here you see document I have given, the proxy pass. Can anybody tell me why exactly I've given here Tomcat 8080? Proxy pass, everybody know, like, okay, this is how we will do proxy pass. If some of you joined little late and you don't know, you have not done the prior classes, this curriculum, so I tell you that what we have done, we have 50 hours of this class where some of you, if you are already aware of few things before, like this particular projects, module 1, module 2, C.5 till this, we invested our 15 hours. If you're already aware of all these things, no problem. And some of you joined laterally, means from here you joined, which is like little, we are considering that you already know Apache and little bit things, and you are starting just from GitHub Action, okay, Ansible, the big things, right? The advanced things. So some of you started from here, some of you started from here. So if you want that, okay, no, I want to do this also, definitely you can go to our, talk to our management and get that videos. We will try to help you to do these things as well, okay? Or you can join another batch, register for that, and we will be able to, we are anyway starting a new batch, so you can join me also. So now, anyway, this is there. What exactly I was saying, that if you see, this is proxy pass. Why exactly Tomcat we are giving here? Because my container name will be Tomcat. If you see this diagram, this container name is Tomcat, this container name is Apache. Okay, this is Tomcat, this is Tomcat, this is Apache. So that's why this proxy server will talk to this container as name, okay, which is Tomcat. So this proxy server will call this server as Tomcat. If you want to change anything, you have to change here also. Okay. So now, fine, we will try to save it for now. Don't know this Zoom bar will never hide it automatically.
Rahul, if you don't mind, if you take, we have a time, just 2 minutes. Can you explain those 2 lines, if you don't mind? Really quick.
Proxy file. Yeah, no problem. Proxy file is nothing but, see, what does that mean? That if somebody, if you see this diagram, if you give here LWPLabs.com/examples, if somebody give examples, at what port you are giving? Port number 80, because nothing is there. So 80 means you are mapping with this particular port 80, and anyway proxy server also runs at 80. So this is mapped with 8080. Okay, we will do that port mapping here. So now when you give /example, the /example is present here in Tomcat. So you are trying to access this /example, which is there in different room, a different home. But then that home, if you have to go from this home. So this user will come to proxy server, which will proxy to this example. Why are we not directly allowing this customer to go inside, go and access this server directly? Because of security issues. So we want someone to go to proxy server, and then proxy will go to Tomcat. Okay. So this app server name is Tomcat. This name is Apache. Name. So Apache will, suppose if I have to call you, I will call you like Kiran, or suppose some other name as a student. So similarly, Apache will call this server as Tomcat. It will not be calling with IP, but a name. Okay. So now here, what are we doing? We are saying that if something comes, so we are currently Apache. We're saying if something comes to example, like at Apache, if some request comes for example. So if suppose somebody is coming to you, coming to your home and calling for your friend, then what will you do? You will call your friend for him, for the guest, and ask your friend to come and meet him. Okay, something like this. So I'm calling example at port 80, which means here, but it is not present here, it is present below. So it will do what? It will redirect it to below URL.
But
which is
here
Tom.
nowhere we mentioned the Apache, right? Apache details to forward the port mapping.
Why will it? This is Apache only, na configuration. I am coming. I am doing Apache configuration only. So why will I have to put Apache details?
Okay, okay.
Okay. You are in my home only, saying that, okay, my friend Rahul, listen to me very carefully. If somebody comes and asking about me, do what? Call me. I am in another room. You are saying me like this. Then I don't have to do configuration for myself, right? You are saying to me. That means I'm already a human. I don't have to configure myself. I have to just configure saying that, okay, if somebody is coming and calling for you, I will just pass it to you. I don't have to give my address, right? To your friend. Your friend know already. That's why he's coming. Am I making sense? Okay, so this is what it is. Okay. Now this proxy will. Okay, now what I will do, I will try to create an image. So see this and then you will understand better. So now what I will do, I will try to create an image. Okay, Docker build -t and dot. Dot means again, same folder, it will create an image. So let's see, it is running now and it is going to create image. Image got created. So see, I'm Docker images. I have 2 images now. Okay, one is 238 MB, another is this one. Okay, I have 2 images now. So if the diagram, I created 2 Dockerfile. 2 Dockerfile created. With respect to this 2 Dockerfile, my image also created. Now what I have to do, I have to create container. Right? So let's create a container. So build Tomcat image, build HTTP image, done. Spin up the containers. So let's spin up the containers. I'll spin up a container of Tomcat. Okay, maybe with suppose, generally I told you that port mapping we don't have to do for the below Tomcat because of security reasons. But for now, just to show you, I am doing it. Okay, run -d port mapping I am doing. We are giving a name of the image container is Tomcat only. And then I have to change the version, this image name, right? Image name is Tomcat and the tag is this. So if I run this, it's failing, saying that bind already in use. What is the issue? See, this port is already in use. We already know that we started Tomcat just to show you all. So we'll shut down that. Right? Now we'll go back to this directory and we'll try to run this command again. But before we run this command, let me delete this container. Docker rm -f Tomcat. So deleted. Now I will try to create again. So now this container is created. We will see Docker ps. You see here that port mapping is done. Now what I will do, I will try to get the public IP. This is my public IP. I'll go here. I'll try to give this and give 8080. Now when I give 8080, because my port is also 8080, my host port is also 8080. See, I am able to see this page. So this page is opening from where? From this container. Correct? From this container it is opening. I'll try to see if examples is opening or not. When I'm trying to open example, you see I'm getting an error, 403 access denied. That means examples is present, but I'm getting an error saying that context.xml something. If you wish to modify this restriction, you need to edit context.xml. So I know this issue. We need to go and change this context.xml. Those who have attended this class, previous class, you already know how to fix it, but then I'll show you this again. What we will do, we will try to log into this container, Docker exec it this dash. Once I am inside this container, the Tomcat container, okay, now what I have to do, I have to update the examples, right? So I'll go to usr local Tomcat web apps. This is my folder where my example is present. So I'll go to examples. Now I'll search for this file. Which file? Context.xml. Find dot means current folder. Search for this name context.xml. So I'll get this file. Now what I have to do, I have to open this file to change this file. So either you know how to install Vim, it will not be there inside it, but then you can install it, right? Like apt install and all. But then I'll show you a little bit different way, how to copy this file from outside to inside. So now I'll come out of the container. I'm inside Apache, I'll go to Tomcat. Okay, and then what I will do, I'll copy this file context.xml outside. So I will write docker cp. This is my container and this is my path, examples, and this is my total path, right? Copy this locally. So what I have done, see now, my context.xml is copied outside. Docker cp, give the source path and give in the host file you are copying. Now what I will do, I will open this file. I have to delete these last two lines. 1, 2, deleted, dd. Once you delete this line, what you do, you save this file inside docker cp context.xml. Okay, now this one. So you have changed this file locally in the host file, and then now you are pushing it to inside. So this thing now you can add in the Dockerfile also, right? Because you have the context.xml, you can add this line in the context Dockerfile also. If suppose you have to fix it for permanently, what you have to do, here you have to write copy, okay, context.xml to this location. You can do this so that your error will not come next time. Okay, just save it for now. Okay, but later you can build the image, because once you update the Docker file, you have to build the image again. Okay, which I have not yet done yet. So you have to do it, which you can do later. But for now, I'm just doing this way. And now I copied it. Try to now access this file. It's still erroring out, not sure why. So see, it took some time. Now it is working. Okay, so now I am in the examples page. Now, what is my task? My task is that I will never give my customer this 8080 port, right? We can never give this 8080 port to customer. We have to give like either nothing we have to give or 80. If we give something, that means the customer will not remember that, okay, after IP, we have to give 8080. IP also we will change and we'll give it a name like LWPLabs.com. So they will write a domain name like LWPLabs.com/examples. Correct? For now, I have to do this way. Something like this I have to do, which currently showing not found. So it's going to 80 port and seeing that, checking that it is not found. URL not found. So what I have to do, I have to start the Apache. So let us start the Apache. First, let me stop Apache here. Okay. I'm stopping the Apache which is running in the server. Okay. Because I will create now one image. One container. So I will go back to Apache screen. And then what I will do, I'll try to run this command for Apache. Okay. Start Apache command, right? Start Apache as a container. So what I'm doing, I'm saying Docker run minus D means detach mode, minus P means again port mapping, 8080. Link Tomcat. What is Tomcat? Tomcat is nothing but the other container, right? Which we started already. That container, this container name is Apache, and we are using the image name. What is the image name? If you do here Docker images, see, this is my image name, right? Apache 2.4. So give 2.4 and run. And you see now Docker PS, there are two containers running. One is for Apache and other is for Tomcat. Ideally, as I told you, you will not expose this Tomcat to public. Only to Apache it should be. But for now it is opened. We will try to delete and recreate without port mapping. Okay. Now, because this is now up, let's see this is working or not. See, now we are trying to access through Apache port. Okay, not Tomcat port. I'm not giving 8080. I'm just giving 80. Still, it is accessible, which says that now the proxy pass is also happening. And this is what our exercise is. Is that clear? Guys, this is my exercise. Very simple. Right? Where we have one container, another container, and we are doing the proxy pass. Okay, so try to do this exercise, okay, which will give you more information, like how can you link these two containers. So now see, I have two containers, one is linked with another. So this Apache is calling this Tomcat, and my customer is always trying to access LWPLabs.com/example. But here I have given here, you see IP. So you know how to change the IP to a domain name. Remember, I have explained you. What will you do? You will go to a host file. Okay, you can change this host file, open this with Notepad and change it, right? 3 given and give abc123.com, something like that. Give here, comment it out, save it. Now what you do, just delete this domain and type abc123.com, copy this and go to incognito, paste. And you see, this should work, but not working. I don't know why. This should work, please. Okay. This is still going to, I think, previous page. It is going to HTTPS. Why? Okay. Now see, it's working. So abc123.com, it was going to HTTPS, but no, it will be wrong, right? HTTP. We have not set yet the HTTPS thing, the SSL, right? So that's why this one /example : $DDD this. So some of you, if you do not understand what do you mean by SSL, what do you mean by this proxy pass? So I would highly recommend that you should go for this particular curriculum, which is like the first 5 curriculum. First 5 modules, which will explain you the basic things, okay, which is this one, like how to run, what is proxy server, how to run multiple server, what is virtual host, what is SSL. Here in C.4 we are doing SSL. So do this exercise to get that more information. This 5 projects will help you to understand your clear understanding about the major things, like which is the fundamentals, the foundation, right? Go ahead and do this. Okay, guys, you can get it from here also, or you can get it from us also. Thank you, guys. Let's meet tomorrow.
Rahul, sorry.
Rahul,
Go ahead, ask questions.
Yes. Yeah, ideally, you just shown that project round to link.
Can I know your name before we start?
My name is Arshad. My name is Arshad.
Arshad? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yes. The project is shown us, yes, right now to link both the containers. Ideally, in what situation in real time we use this?
The project which we have done currently?
Yes, yes.
As I told you, developers will do the unit testing. So suppose you are a developer, you write some, so there is a task which is given to you. What will you do? You will develop something, you will do trial and error, and you will again test it in your laptop. Again, you will fix it. Again, you will do trial and error. Again, you will do fix. This thing you will do, correct? So you are a developer. You cannot deploy. If you need Jenkins to deploy, that will be done. That will take a lot of time. But then now you are working in an environment where you need to develop things very fast, and it should be synced with the production. Okay, that is what we learned in here. You see in this example we learned, right? Very first, where this guy was there. Where he's saying that developer is trying to develop something and not working in his laptop. But then support people is saying no, it should work. Support people is saying it is not working, but then developer is saying it's working in my laptop. So how to break this wall? I told you, right? The developer need to do the unit testing well. So it is your laptop, personal laptop. What you will do, you will install desktop here, Docker desktop. And then what will you do? You will try to create an environment which my production have locally. Like you will have Tomcat, you will have one location where is the web apps location where you will copy the WAR file, correct? And that WAR file will be auto deployed. That auto deployment wala thing which we have done, remember, in our -D, in the detached mode, we have done that auto deployment thing where we have mounted the Tomcat file system, right? So you have to do this. This kind of exercise will help you. So to understand, like developer will use this in their local while doing unit testing. So you can tell that this project is mainly used for unit testing, where a lot of trial and error is happening. But developers know that, okay, I have to do a lot of trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. So that kind of environment they can develop, they can make it in their own laptop, and they can do something, changes, and they will test if this is working or not. If this is working or not. They'll keep on checking. They will change, they will test. They will change, they will test. Right? Once that is done, okay, fine, this is working fine. What they will do, they will push the changes to the GitHub so that it will go to the final server, means the servers, maybe development server, QA or UAT or whatever. But then this is the requirement. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Anyone
Okay.
have any other issue?
Rahul, Naveen here. Hello,
Yeah.
Rahul. In 𝐷 we are giving our
In their local while doing unit testing. So you can tell that this project is mainly used for unit testing, where a lot of trial and error is happening. But developers know that, okay, I have to do a lot of trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. So that kind of environment they can develop, they can make it in their own laptop, and they can do something, changes, and they will test if this is working or not. If this is working or not. They'll keep on checking. They will change, they will test. They will change, they will test. Right? Once that is done, okay, fine, this is working fine. What they will do, they will push the changes to the GitHub so that it will go to the final server, means the servers, maybe development server, QA or UAT or whatever. But then this is the requirement.